Hello dear students, we have started our topic, that is collection and representation of data, and in that we discussed about earlier regarding what is classification, why there is a need of classification, different benefits or advantages of the classification. Then we discussed about various objectives of the classification. Then we learned about some terms which are used in classification, like class interval is there, class limit is there, mid value of class mark is there, class frequency is there. Okay, so these are some terms which are used in the classification. Then we discussed one point, that is different type of frequency table, that is overlapping frequency table and non-overlapping frequency table. So what is overlapping frequency table? In overlapping frequency table, we can see in overlapping frequency table, upper value of one class interval is represented as a lower value in next class interval, and if we see non-overlapping frequency table, then in this the condition becomes opposite. Okay, the condition becomes opposite. So if we see overlapping and non-overlapping frequency table, so today we will study different methods of representation of data, how the data is represented. Before the representation of the data, we have already discussed this topic, that if you want to do some kind of a experiment, biological experiment, or first thing is what? First thing is the collection of the data. Data must be collected, or data should be collected properly. Okay, but second most important thing, or second most important aspect is representation of that data. So whatever the data that you collected enormous data, enormous quantity of the data, but if that data is not properly represented, not properly classified, not properly shown, not properly represented, then it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so that data must be properly organized, properly classified, properly represented. So there are different methods of representation of the data. In that, first method is what? First method is the tabular type of representation. First method is what? First method is tabular type of representation. So here we can see, I will take a pen. So first method of representation is what? Tabular type of representation. So simple, it is a very simple type of representation. So tabular means what? The representation of a data in the form of what? In the form of tables. You observe it in your daily studies. You see different type of tables given, and if you see that table, you will better understand that thing. Okay, if you see it in the table, it is properly organized in the rows, in the column, and in that way you better understand it, rather than written as a paragraph. If the values are properly given in the tables, then it will help, it will we can say, it will take a better grasp for you, or it will be better absorbed by you if it is given in the form of table. So tabular representation is the most common way and most simplest way of representing the data. So tabular representation is nothing but the representation in the form of tables. Very simple. So what are the different features of this tabular representation? So first feature is what? Tables are always self-explanatory. Means if we see the table, you will able to get what is given there. You need not to see the paragraph or whatever the written below that table or above that table. The tables itself gives you the information. Therefore, it is called as, or it is considered as a self-explanatory. It is considered as a self-explanatory. Second is, in the table, the column numbers or the rows are appropriately labeled, which makes the viewer to better understand the topic, table. Then explanatory footnotes are given in at the bottom of the table. Therefore, it again helps us to easily understand that topic or that table. So what are the different advantages of what? What are the different advantages if we see the advantages, data is well arranged and presented. If you surveyed, you have collected the data, but if you don't present it in the form of proper way, for example in this case tables, so data can't be well understood. If you write it as it is, whatever in which way you have collected, if you don't properly arrange that data, if you don't properly classify that data, then it becomes very tedious task to understand what is given there. So if we see the table, then we will get the better information in a better way. Okay, therefore we call it as a self-explanatory. Okay. Second thing is what? Second thing is no repetition of the explanatory material. So here in case of table, you will get directly what is wanted. No any extra thing is there. It enables the comparison. So again, the two different tables, if they are given, then it will help the viewer, it will help the who want to study that. So if it is given in tables, then it facilitates to compare it between two different things. Okay, so that is the one benefit or advantages. Then errors or omissions are readily detected. In this case, errors and omissions are readily detected, means you can find out the errors very easily. Complex data, this is also important thing. Complex data can be presented in a concise form, can be represented in a concise form, and it is very easy to remember. So these are what? These are the features of the advantages of the tabular representation. Then we will discuss what is another method of representation of the data. Another method is what? It is the graphic representation of data. I will change color here for your better understanding. I will take which color I will take? I will take red color. Okay. So second type is what? It is the graphic representation of the data. So what is graphic representation of the data? Graphic representation of the data is nothing but representation of quantitative data suitably through charts and diagrams in the form of graph paper. You use it commonly. So when the data is represented in the form of charts or in the form of diagram, it becomes the graphic representation of the data. It becomes the graphic representation of data. So how, in another way, it can be defined like this: visual display. Okay, whatever you see directly as a diagram or as a tag, it is more appealing to you. So the visual display of data and statistical result is nothing but the graphic representation. Okay. So here there are different advantages of the graphic representation. What are different advantages? The different advantages is what we'll see. It makes, I will change the color because it is not that much highlighted. So what are the different advantages of graphic representation of the data? The data becomes more effective and attractive. Okay, so if you have given one diagram on a graph paper, and same thing is mentioned in the theoretically in a paragraph, which thing would you prefer to learn? Obviously you will prefer to learn it through your graph, because it makes it attracts us or it appeals us. Okay, because it is in the form of diagram. Okay, rather than reading the sentences, we will happy to see that diagram. Therefore this graphic representation makes the data very effective and very attractive. Then colors and pictorial diagrams make the data more meaningful. It makes the data more meaningful. Means what? In the picture, in the pictorial form or in a color form, the data makes the data more meaningful. It gives an elaborate or comprehensive view of the data. Okay, it gives a comprehensive view of a data, means we can see it clearly, we can understand it very clearly. Then we will discuss about different types of graphic representation. Okay, so first one is what? First one is the histogram. First one is the histogram. Second one is what? Frequency polygon. Second one is frequency polygon. Third one is frequency curve. Frequency curve. And fourth one is what? Scatter or dot gram. So these are four different types of the graphic representation. So we will see the first. First is what? First is the histogram. First is what? Histogram. So what is histogram? Histogram, it is nothing but it is a set of vertical bars. It is a set of vertical bars whose area is proportional to the frequencies represented. Okay, and second thing is what? Data is plotted as a series of rectangles. I will draw here one histogram. Okay, so I will take black color. I will take a pen. This pen, how it goes? It is freehand, I think. I will take felt tip. Okay, so I will take a black color. Here this is your, okay, so suppose this is a graph paper, this is your x-axis and this is your y-axis. So how we are going to, this is 0. Okay, so here the marks of the students are given and their marks range is given here, and second is number of students which are given here. So the mark range is from 20 to 30 and how many students have got the marks in the range of 20 to 37 student. Okay, 30 to 40 range is of 9 students, means 9 students have got this mark. Then again similarly 12, 5 and 2. So here how we will going to represent this data? We will be going to represent this data by here we will start here by say here 10. Okay, then here, so please understand this 20, this 30, this 40, this one is 50, this one is 60, this one is 70. Okay, and here if you see the range 2 to say 12 is there, so I will 1 2 3 1 2 3. I hope you understood that it is through the mouse, therefore can't get the right way. 6 7 8 9. I have to increase this. 10 11 12. Okay, and 13. So how the histogram is represented? See here, first class interval is what, 20 to 30. I have seen it is a set of vertical bar whose area is proportional to the frequency of the represent. So 20 to 30, if we see here 20 to 30, number of students are how many? 7. So we will mark here somewhere. Okay, so you just draw it straight line. It becomes your first 20 to 30 are 7, then 30 to 40 are 9. So here you have to just extend this 30 to 40. They are what? See, है ना? 40. Then and 30 to 40 are 9. Then 40 to 40 marks range. How many students have this mark range? 12. So if you see the frequency 12, here it is given here 40 to 50. 40 to 50. You have to just draw this rectangle whose height is proportional to the frequency of that class interval. Then 50 to 60. What is 50 to 60? How 50 to 60 is there? In 50 to 60, 5 students are there. 5 students are there. Okay, so we'll mark here somewhere. Here 50 to 60. There are 5 students. And 60 to 70. 60 to 70 are only having 2 students. So here we can get 60 to 70. So this is a simply histogram. It becomes what? It becomes a histogram. So here the data is represented in the form of bar or a chart. Okay, it becomes histogram. Okay. So in this fashion we represented that data. So we'll move forward towards the second thing, that is the frequency polygon. Frequency polygon. It is used to represent the data graphically. Okay, it is fine. It is same as histogram. See, not much difference is there between the histogram and frequency polygon. But what we have to do, in as we have drawn earlier histogram, we have to just additionally find out the midpoint of the class interval, and we have to put the dot there, and these dots can be connected by a straight line. Okay, so how we'll see the previous slide, same example is given there, therefore we will again mark here. What we have to do here, just we have to find out the mid value. So here I will add another column. So here we have to find what? Midpoint. Okay, how we are going to find midpoint? So this class interval is having 20 and 30, so the midpoint will be 25. So here 35, here 45, 55, 65. How it is calculated? Simply just upper lower limit plus upper limit divided by 2. Here 20 plus 30 divided by 2, it becomes 25. Okay, simply we have found out the midpoint. We will move in earlier slide. Here we have to also find the midpoint of the base class. Here 10 to 20 is the base class, here it is the midpoint, and here 6 to 2, here we have to draw 80, and here we have to draw this. So we have to find out the midpoint 20 to 30, 25. We'll take another color that will be very much. So here this is midpoint, 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 and just we have to draw a straight line connecting to these points here, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. Sorry, it should be from here. It becomes what? It becomes your frequency polygon. So simple is there. So it becomes your frequency polygon. Third is what? Third is frequency curve. So what is frequency curve? When this midpoint of the class interval, are joined by smooth freehand curve, it is called as frequency curve. Curve should begin and end at the baseline. Simply same example is there. Here we will take same example. We have what we have done here. We have just drawn a straight line. Okay, we have drawn a straight line. But instead of straight line, if we draw a freehand, if we draw by freehand, just like this, we have, I see, this is just like means without any scale. So this red thing becomes your frequency curve. This becomes your frequency curve. Okay. So this is about frequency curve. In this version, we can also represent that data. And last one is what? Your scatter diagram or dot diagram. So here you have given two different variables. This is variable x and this is variable y. So here it is also a graphical way of representation of data, but it is more given in more detail in a correlation chapter. So we will take in short here. So it is used to find the correlation between two different variables, whether two variables are related or not. So in that one variable is independent variable and another variable is what? Dependent variable. So here it is used to find out a correlation between two different variables. First one is independent and another one is dependent. Let us take an example, temperature and sale of ice cream. Okay, temperature and sale of ice cream. So here temperature, we know that temperature can't be controlled, external temperature. So it becomes, it is the independent variable, it doesn't depend on the another thing. And second is the sale of ice cream. So it becomes the dependent variable, because as the temperature increases, sale of ice cream also increase. So if you want to plot it as in a scatter diagram, we have to again draw. Okay, so this is your x-axis and this is your y-axis. First we have to draw points on x and y, 25, 30, 33 and 40. So we will take a range of say here 20, okay, 30, 40 and 50. This is your temperature. This is your temperature. And sale of ice cream is, I will take 20, 40, 80 like this. 20, 40. Hope you understood this. 60, 80, 100, 120 and 140. So we have to, by seeing these two, correlating these two variable, we have to draw a dot. Okay, therefore the name is given dot diagram, dot or a scatter diagram. So for temperature of 25, somewhere here, the sale of ice cream is what? Sale of ice cream is 50, is somewhere here. So this dot becomes here. This is a dot. Okay. Then for a temperature 30, the sale of ice cream is what? 70, somewhere here. This is another dot. For the 33, somewhere here, the sale of ice cream is 100. So it is very high. Okay. This is third dot. And 40 for 125, here somewhere. This is this. So we have plotted a dot by using two variables, out of which one variable is independent variable and another variable is dependent variable. So if we draw a straight line passing through this, it becomes your scatter diagram. It becomes your scattered diagram. Okay. So that is about a scatter diagram. So it is showing a positive correlation that we will learn in a correlation chapter. So that is the method of graphical method of representation of data. Then there are different merits and limitations of the graphic representation. First merit is what? More acceptability. The graphical representation is, I will take highlighter. Graphical representation is more black is color is there. It is more acceptable, means it is very easier to understand. It is easier for comparative analysis. Obviously it is more attractive, therefore it becomes very easier for the comparative analysis. Then it is having less cost. Cost to do the graphical representation is less. Development of logical and complete idea or a logical ideas get developed. Then it is beneficial for less literate peoples, means who are less literate, they can easily understand because it is given pictorial form. Then in graphical representation, less errors and mistakes are made. So these are the different merits. And second is limitations. What are limitations? Lack of secrecy. Whatever is there, that is directly open to you, therefore it becomes public or less secret. Then second is difficulty in selecting a suitable method. Suitable method means which method we are to follow, that it becomes difficult. So these are the different methods of representation of the data. Then in next chapter, in next lecture, we'll see the diagrammatic representation of data. Hope all of you have understood this graphic representation of the data. So we'll stop here, and in next lecture we'll see the last topic, that is the diagrammatic representation of the data. Thank you for your patient listening. Thank you.